Right now, flooding in northern Wisconsin forces residents to evacuate their homes. What's next for Manawa, Wisconsin? Also, Wisconsin Supreme Court ruling that will impact how we vote this upcoming election. We break it down. And the city of Middleton takes a stroll down memory lane as they teach about the city's history. Welcome to News 3 Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Police in Manawa, Wisconsin say the concern over a dam has stabilized and evacuated residents are free to return home. The city's police chief gave the update on social media Friday evening, saying the dam appears to be intact. Earlier in the day, the National Weather Service says it expected the dam to fail. The agency was forecasting major flooding downstream from Manawa Dam and Little Wolf River. Authorities had earlier urged residents living nearby to shelter in place, with others in imminent danger to evacuate. Officials continue to ask residents to drive carefully and avoid any standing waters on roads. Here is Manawa's police chief on the flooding and the dam.
As a consequence of a lot of erosion around the bridge, we ended up having to get a lot of people, emergency first responders, into the area to help evacuate. First it was motorists, and then as the erosion we became aware of it and it was getting worse, we had to start evacuating some of the homes.
The town also had to cancel its parade and rodeo in response to the flooding. Heavy rains continue to impact Manawa. Emily Matesic has more on how the town is dealing with the most recent battle with flooding.
Heavy rains fell late Friday morning and into the afternoon, causing major headaches in Manawa. City officials forced to close the city, not allowing anyone in. We learned the Manawa rodeo grounds were flooded and the Manawa Dam suffered major damage, leading to evacuations across the city.
I'm more on the higher end of the dam, but to be safe, we were told we should just get out and get somewhere safe. And I think 30 feet of the dam at this point has broken.
Evacuation shelters have been set up at the Manawa Masonic Center, as well as the Little Wolf High School, as people downriver from the dam were asked to evacuate or shelter in place. This is the aftermath of heavy rains that fell early Friday afternoon in Outagamie County. Streets were flooded, yards were underwater, and water was rushing in places it normally doesn't sit. Things were so bad at one point, the Appleton Police Department set out an emergency alert, asking people to stay home and off the roads.
I got partway down and my car just stopped. And the water's, I opened the door and the water's up to door height, and I was like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Standing water filled yards and streets, stranding motorists on the north side of town.
People were like outside standing and like were coming out of their houses to look. And this lady got in a kayak and was paddling with her hands over to the car and asked if I needed help and wanted a ride to the other side of the street.
Similar scenarios were playing out in New London, too, where heavy rains flooded yards and parks, forcing the closure of roads that at times were impassable. But as quickly as the water rose, it receded.
A much quieter scene here in the southern part of the state. Hopefully it stays that way. Let's get a look at your first one forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, how does it feel out there?
Not too bad. You know, we've been sitting underneath quiet conditions for this Saturday, which is some good news, especially given that flooding conditions, whether it's in rivers or as we just saw in our local dams, we really do not need any more water. And thankfully, we're going to go into the rest of your Saturday evening on the quiet side. We do have some light winds out of the northwest. Humidity not too bad. Dew points are in the 50s and 60s. That's going to kind of get our atmosphere ready for maybe some rain beginning to move in later tonight into early Sunday morning. But we are going to continue to remain quiet through the rest of this evening. I don't anticipate any showers or any thunderstorms for that matter. 70s and 80s for temperatures across southern Wisconsin and into Dane County. It looks like Madison, McFarland, and Stoughton all the way down into Edgerton. Let's include Deerfield and Sun Prairie into kind of that 80-degree at least club. Everybody else seems to be a little bit on the cooler side except for Sauk City. We're also coming in at 80 degrees at this hour. So we are going to continue to remain quiet, as I said, through the rest of really your Saturday evening. We are going to track out when the rain returns and a pretty active work week coming up in the full forecast.
All right, sounds good, Blaze. Thank you. Residents take a walk down memory lane for the historic downtown Middleton Stroll and Tell. The event takes people around downtown learning the history of the city. Led by a former city administrator and Historical Society board member, people were able to get a very in-depth teaching of history of the place they call home.
I want to mention here, how many of you have been to the Village Green right over here? A few of you have. That was Middleton's first bowling alley. Now this site is known as now Stone Horse Green. It doesn't look like it was built in 1870. You'll notice that there is a kind of a boomtown look, a false facade on the building from 1870.
For more information on the city's history, you can find it on middletonhistory.org. And the history lessons did not stop there. The first Saturday of every month, people show up to Tenney Park Beach for an opportunity to learn about the area's history and nature through a bird and nature adventure led by Don Sanford and Ali Penskover. Adventurers went on a hike seeing all the beauty from all the park's birds and its rich history.
Remember when we looked at the map before, those old maps, that this was all kind of marshy. Well, all of a sudden, you know, in the new plan of the park, there's high ground, there's picnic grounds, you know, places for people to play baseball. So, well, how do they get all that? How do they, you know, you don't just get high ground out of nowhere. They got it from the lake.
Janesville police arrest a man Thursday night for an alleged 7th OWI offense. Janesville police say at approximately 11:30 p.m. a vehicle was located on West Milwaukee Street and North Main Street. Police say the officer noticed the man switch seats and go into the back seat of the vehicle. Police say the man showed signs of being drunk and he reportedly refused to field sobriety test. The man was arrested for OWI, resisting and obstructing an officer, possession of THC, felony bail jumping, and probation hold. He was held at the Rock County Jail. President Biden in Madison Friday hosting a rally along with Governor Tony Evers and other top Dems. This comes a little over a week after his highly scrutinized debate performance against former President Donald Trump. Biden, along with his campaign, is adamant that the president is staying in the race.
Now, you probably heard we had a little debate last week. Can't say it was my best performance. We love it, Joe. That's okay. But ever since then, there's been a lot of speculation. What's Joe going to do? Is he going to stay in the race? Is he going to drop out? What's he going to do? Well, here's my answer. I am running and going to win again.
On the same day of President Biden's visit, the Wisconsin Supreme Court dropped two big decisions. The first allowing the use of drop boxes in upcoming elections. The other decision, although confusing for some, is also important and could have a big impact on how policy is made and carried out in our state government. Braden Ross breaks it all down.
I'm just a bill.
You probably remember this guy. He's just a bill sitting on Capitol Hill until he finally becomes what he's always dreamed of being, a law.
Oh, yeah.
But that's not always the end of the story. Just ask Governor Tony Evers.
Instead of asking who has the authority to make law, it's equally important to ask who has the authority to prevent law.
That's called a veto.
You know, there are these things called veto points. For example, the presidential veto, the most famous, or the governor's veto. Court decisions are veto points. We give courts the power to strike, to veto effectively laws because they're unconstitutional. Bicameral legislation that has to pass both houses, that's a veto point.
In the Wisconsin Supreme Court's most recent decision, the veto point we're talking about is the ability of a legislative committee to hold back funding that's already been signed into law.
It's entirely possible that one of the most important veto points that's been used for highly partisan purposes in Wisconsin politics in the last 20 years or so, 15 years or so, will be taken away.
You see, last year, Evers secured funding in the legislature he wanted to use for conservation projects, but the 16-member Joint Finance Committee blocked him from spending it. This week, though, the Wisconsin Supreme Court found that move by the JFC to be unconstitutional based on the separation of powers clause.
That will affect people's lives in the sense that policies, laws, regulations will go forward much more smoothly, so to speak, with fewer opportunities to be derailed by a committee of the legislature.
That means now, once that bill sitting on Capitol Hill becomes a law, he could have an easier time getting stuff done. Reporting in Madison, Braden Ross, News 3 Now.
And coming up next on News 3 Now at 6, Wisconsin receives millions in funding for medicine and biohealth industries. How this will impact the state. And Google emissions drastically increased due to AI? Find out how next.
In the courtroom, we see Donald Trump for who he is. He's been convicted of 34 felonies, found liable for sexual assault, and he committed financial fraud. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's been working, lowering health care costs and making big corporations pay their fair share. This election is between a convicted criminal who's only out for himself and a president who's fighting for your family.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
Don't miss the 45th Annual Art Fair Off the Square, July 13th and 14th, located in downtown Madison between the Capitol and the Monona Terrace Convention Center. Showcasing the talents and creativity of the Wisconsin Alliance of Artists and Craftspeople, featuring beautiful ceramics, art glass, painting and drawings, photography, sculpture, jewelry, and so much more. Buy local and support your Wisconsin artists and craftspeople, July 13th and 14th. The Art Fair Off the Square. Put it on your calendar today.
Want to test drive U.S. Cellular's nationwide 5G coverage?
Yeah.
Download our app. Want to do it even faster?
Here we go.
U.S. Cellular works great out here. Wow, still have 5G here too. Hey, I wonder if U.S. Cellular lets me stream in my rec room. Yep, it's working.
Try out our nationwide 5G coverage free for 30 days. Download the U.S. Cellular Try Us app today.
My husband and I finally agreed that we need a new bathtub and shower, so he went right to work on it. I think he's procrastinating.
For a new bathtub or shower, just call 1-800-HANSONS. Installed in as little as 1 day with optional safety features and a no-leak guarantee. Get 60% off installation or no interest and no payments for 1 year. Offer ends soon.
Call 1-800-HANSONS. Get it done.
Watching News 3 Now at 6.
Wisconsin is awarded $49 million in funding to advance the state's medicine and biohealth sector. Governor Evers' office says this allows Wisconsin's 15 public and private partners to expand on research and lab, improve collaboration, and enhance access to capital to start and grow businesses. The office also notes this will help create more jobs for the state. The Tech Hub is expected to create over 30,000 jobs in the personalized medicine sector and over 100,000 indirect jobs. And about $9 billion of economic development is projected within the first decade of the Tech Hub. Google's greenhouse gas emissions have soared almost 50% in just 5 years. That's according to Google's annual environmental report on Tuesday. The spike is due to the expansion of its data centers that underpin artificial intelligence systems. But it leaves Google's target of getting to net zero emissions by 2030 in jeopardy. Google leaders say the company remains committed to the 2030 goal, but the target is extremely ambitious. If you have a Basis magnetic wireless charging power banks, stop using them. The Consumer Product Safety Commission announced a recall of roughly 132,000 of them for safety-related concerns. Officials say the lithium-ion batteries in these power banks can overheat and pose a potential fire hazard. Basis says it's received 171 reports of these incidents. 39 fires occurred, causing some injuries and roughly $20,000 in damage. The power banks were sold online from April 2022 through April of this year. Consumers are advised to return the power banks for a refund. And coming up next, meteorologist Blaze Keller is back with a full breakdown of your First Warn forecast.
Here's to sweet summer days together in Wisconsin. To discovering magic in every moment. Here's to supper club celebrations. And to a lifetime of memories. Here's to reconnecting through a world filled with wonder. And dancing until the sun goes down. Here's to those who Wisconsin.
I love the co-op because of the good food and it supports the community.
I love the fresh produce, coffee at the juice bar for while I'm shopping, and the large selection of bulk products.
I think the prices are great. I love the co-op because they make healthy food affordable for people.
I love the people who work here and the people who shop here.
The vibe is great, and they have fun cooking classes for kids.
I love the co-op. I come here almost every day.
It's kind of my mini vacation going there.
This is Kathy. She's about to see her dentist. She's afraid. Not because of the drill, but because of the bill. A big bill. But Kathy doesn't need to be afraid, and neither do you, thanks to affordable dental insurance from Physicians Mutual Insurance Company. It's easy to get this coverage. Don't believe me? Call or go online for all the details. You could even have this free information kit. This isn't a discount plan or preventive-only coverage. This is real dental insurance. It helps pay for over 400 procedures. That's a lot. I'm talking cleanings, fillings, crowns, bridges, root canals, even dentures. Bottom line, you'll have help paying for routine care and expensive major work. But if you want deductibles, forget it. There aren't any. No annual maximum either. Plus, you can see any dentist you want. Stop fearing the big bill. Start saving at the dentist. Call now or go to sendinfokit.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
How much I weigh is nobody's business.
But Eric Hovde wants to make it his.
Eric Hovde thinks that if you're overweight, insurance companies should charge you more.
There should be consequences to those personal choices. Fine, you want to do that? Your health care is going to cost more.
How insulting is that?
Hovde would increase healthcare costs for 1 out of every 3 people in Wisconsin.
Eric Hovde, what the hell is wrong with this guy?
Let's get a look at your first warn forecast with meteorologist Blaze Keller. Blaze, what should they expect?
We are going to continue to sit underneath quiet conditions with a few clouds here and there as we look to wrap up your Saturday. In Madison, we're at 80 degrees with a light northwesterly wind. That has kept us comfortable throughout the day today. We're still underneath the influence of a high pressure system marked by those northwesterly winds. It has kept us quiet. We are expecting these quiet conditions for your Saturday. But as that high continues to slide eastwards, we're going to watch as those winds turn out of the south. That begins tonight. And then that moves back up that moisture, the cloud cover, and even that chance for rain beginning in the early morning hours on Sunday. 80 in Madison, as I just said, 81 in Boscobel, 77 in Platteville, as well as in Monroe. We're at 81 in Janesville, too. Taking it in closer into Dane County, 80 in Sauk City, 79 in Waunakee. Pretty consistent temperatures really across not only Dane County, but southern Wisconsin, too. And for most of us, we are going to be quiet through the rest of this evening, through the early overnight hours. It's after midnight that we watch as those clouds start to increase, and then we see that chance for rain really starting to pick up here between, I would say, 2 to 4 o'clock in the morning. Future Track is going to walk us through the rest of your Saturday. I don't know what it's picking up, to be quite honest, with that blip of rain moving through Dane County. I don't see that happening. I think we're going to just continue to remain dry with those clouds steadily increasing. I think the first chance for rain is going to be along the Mississippi River between 2 and 4 o'clock. Future Track at 3 has that rain beginning to slide out of Iowa across the southwest. And then that line kind of breaks apart, but we're still seeing at least some showers, maybe a few rumbles of thunder through 7, 8 o'clock, maybe as late as 9 o'clock on Sunday. And then we're going to continue to keep that threat for scattered, turning isolated, for showers and thunderstorms through most of the afternoon hours on Sunday. And then we maybe dry out as we head further into your Sunday, getting some sunshine before we wrap up your 4th of July weekend and go into our next work week. That high pressure system will continue to slide its way eastward, but we're not making room for an organized low pressure system. We're just kind of sitting in limbo, if you will. And the reason might be in part due to the remnants of Beryl. We'll talk about that in just a minute, but rain continues into your Monday, especially into the second half of the day, and then we'll continue to maybe see some of that rain into the start of your Tuesday. Here's Beryl's current position, but this is where the forecast takes the remnants of him. By about Thursday of next week, he's beginning to move into the lower portions of the Ohio River Valley. Even though he is weak right now and will be weak as he makes his way through Texas, he's going to continue to push that jet stream further north and slow down the progression of systems moving throughout the United States. So that's the reason why we've scaled back on our rain chances over the next 7 days, which is some great news. And that's the reason why we don't see any organized systems moving throughout most of really the United States, if not the Midwest, as we go into the first half of next week. Tomorrow, we're looking at the 70s across southern Wisconsin. Late day drying out, but we're going to stay mostly cloudy for the first half of your Sunday. There's a look at that 7-day forecast. No alert days, pretty active though, but again, thanks to Beryl, we actually don't really see any soaking rains, any heavy rains, any all-day rain type forecast, just kind of hit or miss chances throughout next week. And then we climb back into those 90s that following weekend into the start of that following week as well. Did you notice that we added the percentage chance on the 7th?
I did. And I did also see a 90 degrees on there. Now looking forward to that. But one of the things that I love about weather, and I'm sure this is why you ended up getting into the profession, the fact that something hundreds, if not thousands of miles away can impact our weather all the way here in Wisconsin.
Yeah, that's why forecasting is not easy, because you've got to take all that into consideration, and then our weather here at the surface is impacted by weather all the way basically at the edge of space. So it is a very interesting science.
All right, well, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. Still ahead, Giannis and Team Greece trying to get one step closer to an Olympic bid. Next on News 3 Now and Sports with Andrew.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Did you see Trump last night? I mean it sincerely. Most lies told in a single debate. He lied about the great economy he created. He lied about the pandemic he botched. And then, his biggest lie, he lied about how he had nothing to do with the insurrection of January 6th. We all saw with our own eyes.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you.
We saw police being attacked, the Capitol being ransacked. He did not a single thing to stop it, nothing. Folks, I know I'm not a young man, but I know how to do this job. I know right from wrong. I know how to tell the truth. And I know, like millions of Americans know, when you get knocked down, you get back up.
I'm Joe Biden, and I approve this message.
They say that breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Well, they are correct.
Enjoy one of our tasty steak patty sandwiches paired with a $2 medium-iced coffee.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Fire up the grill and get brats and buns for just $1 this Friday through Sunday at Hy-Vee. Now that's a meal deal. Get Hy-Vee's famous brats for just $1. Choose from 12 flavors of brats for just $1 each. And get 8 Hy-Vee buns for just $1. Burger buns for just $1 too. And while you've got the grill going, throw on some mouth-watering burgers. Fresh ground chuck, only $3.98 a pound. Friday through Sunday, only at Hy-Vee.
Dad, are you certain this is gonna work?
Nothing to it.
Are you for imprint certain?
Certainty matters, like the certainty of 4imprint, your home for high-quality promotional gear, including exclusive items and brands they love. Printed perfectly and guaranteed to arrive on time. To wow your clients, nail your next event, or inspire your team, check out 4imprint.com.
4imprint, for certain.
You have a consumer issue and you keep getting the runaround. Need help?
It's call for action to help me. Nobody else did.
Contact our team by phone or on channel3000.com. Call for action, only on News 3 Now, moving forward for you.
Giannis and Luka Doncic have taken over the NBA in the last few years. And this morning, two of the league's biggest superstars competed on a different stage, the Olympic qualifying semifinals. The winner will be one trip away from a trip to Paris, and the loser goes home. And you knew Luka was going to get his. Hits the three over the Greek freak, but even still, in the third quarter, Greece led by double digits. And then in the fourth, Greece up 19, and Giannis puts the finishing touches on a W with contact. Greece wins it in a blowout 98-68 and advances to play Ivica Zubac and Croatia in the finals, all but locking up their ticket to the Paris Olympics. But once they get to Paris, I'm not sure that anyone is going to be stopping Team USA. Steph Curry, Kawhi Leonard, and Joel Embiid will be making their Team USA debuts, while LeBron makes his Olympic return. And even if they did win gold last time around, they've got a whole lot to prove in this trip to Paris. Meanwhile, LeBron's son, Bronny James Jr., took the floor for the first time in a Lakers uniform today, scoring 4 points in his first summer league action, including this nasty ankle breaker. He added a pair of rebounds and assists, too, but the Lakers lost 108-94. This season, he'll join his dad as the first father-son duo in NBA history. Caitlin Clark's rookie season has been unlike any other in WNBA history. The hype, the hate, the hoops, and today the Iowa Hawkeyes legend made some more history. Not only did she lead her Indiana Fever to a massive comeback victory over the New York Liberty, handing them just their 4th loss of the season, but she scored 19 points, dished 13 assists, and grabbed 12 rebounds, collecting the first rookie triple-double in WNBA history. But for Clark, it's no big deal.
Obviously, it's really cool. I mean, my teammates have been finishing the ball really at a high rate. Like, my assist numbers, that's because of them. Like, just finding them in positions to be successful, whether it's AB, whether it's Liz. Thought we've done a really good job of that. And but yeah, I guess it's cool.
Last night, the Brewers hit yet another grand slam, becoming the 3rd MLB team since 1900 to hit 6 grand salamis in a 13-game span. Despite all of that, they could not get the win. They're back at it today in LA. In fact, they just started the first inning, just got into action. We're still in it, and we'll have the highlights for this one later tonight. To the Duck Pond, the Madison Nightmares were trailing 8-4 entering the 7th inning, and then came the comeback. Kayla Thomas finishes it off with a walk-off home run. Are you kidding me? Nightmares win it 9-8, and by the way, Thomas homered again in the 2nd game of their doubleheader, which Madison also won. Down to Illinois for the 3rd round of the John Deere Classic, and this day belonged to Davis Thompson. The 25-year-old shot 9 under on the day with help from beautiful shots like this one on 12. He is 21 under for the weekend, entering the final round as the leader, looking for his first win on the tour. You know, you don't always get this much basketball action when the NBA season is not in full swing, but we got it today, and Giannis is 1 win away from a trip to the Olympics.
Is Thanasis on the team, or is it just Giannis representing the Antetokounmpo brothers?
I've watched a fair amount of it. I haven't seen Thanasis. My guess is, you know, just like a team down the road, they found a way to make him get on the roster.
Fair enough, but Caitlin Clark, first rookie triple-double in WNBA history. I mean, she just keeps on doing it.
Yeah, and she's going to keep on doing it for a long time to come. This is her rookie season, and it's only going to get better from here.
Absolutely. I mean, basketball's not played outdoors, but golf is, baseball is as well. What should we expect outside for the next day or so?
Quiet conditions through the rest of this evening, and then tomorrow, pretty much throughout next week, on and off chances for showers and thunderstorms. So if you weren't able to get out and enjoy the quiet today, you certainly won't be able to tomorrow, and maybe not Monday. It's maybe starting Tuesday through the upcoming weekend that we see more breaks in the day and not more that cloud cover and that kind of consistent rain activity.
All right, well, sounds good. Thank you, Blaze. Thank you, Andrew. And thank you all for joining us. We'll see you back here at 10 o'clock.